Mistakes are lessons.
Yep.
Failures are lessons. You fail a test, you figure out what you got wrong on the test, right?
Yep.
No different than if you have a reoccurrence or a relapse. You research your
Oh,
relapse and
yeah.
then
I'm
you
so
get
glad you
better,
mentioned this.
right?
Yeah.
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 The thing is that when someone says I had a reoccurrence, or when family or whoever finds out someone has relapsed, right? It's like the end of the world for everyone and the
Mhm.
person who relapsed. Like, oh my God. Okay. In all reality, all you can do is research it. What were you doing when you decided to use? What was happening? Like, what did you drive by when you were all of a sudden, like, I'm at the front of a liquor store and I'm ready to do this? Were you anxious? Was anxiety going on? Did you call somebody? Did you pull out gratefuls? What
Mhm.
was it? What made this happen? Now, if you take this and pertain it to a test, you would research the questions you got wrong, right? So
Yep.
research how the relapse happened. As soon as that happens, now then you jump back on the horn real quick. We don't get stuck in, oh my God, it's happened. No,
Yep.
get back on the horn. And the next time you feel those ways, you now can pinpoint where the relapse is happening. Now you're that much better at what you're doing. You walk right by it and you get ready for the next emotion because it's
Yes.
temporary, not permanent. See what I I think we have to go back to the how to's
Yeah.
and step by steps for a second, and do them, just do them religiously for ourselves as a
Yeah.
practice. We have to remember the basics. And I think that's what
Yeah.
is that, my coach used to use it. My dad, he's a coach. Philip, he would probably say that his coach, Vic Fangio probably says this: kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
don't got to sit
Yeah.
here and make it seem like it's the end of the world. You
Yep.
don't have to reinvent something. All you got to do is just be better at it, practice it,
Yep.
and become better at it for yourself, not to beat anybody else. I'm in competition with myself half the dang time, right?
Yeah.
So, what can I do that much greater the next day to make sure that I do not relapse? Okay, we already know it may have happened, but
Yeah.
the issue comes down to how much do we allow it to take over us? We can't, because we
Yep.
today will never come again. So if
Yeah.
I spend most of my days or one day worrying about me relapsing, I might not make it to tomorrow,
If you're beating
right?
yourself up for relapsing, you're now adding more stress, and you're continuing to drink and do the things, and like,
Yeah,
because you're beating yourself up for those problems, as opposed to, it's that flip of that switch,
yep,
research your relapse. And I think that's,
yeah,
it certainly applies for addiction, but I think that applies for anything. We beat up ourselves for our past mistakes. I got fired from that job, I'm worthless, and you start thinking about all
right,
those things, as opposed to, all right, what happened? What did I do? Okay, I was showing up late every day.
right.
Okay, can I
Okay,
control that?
right.
What
And
I what
then
am I going to do differently?
right. And then let's take it even further. Sometimes I look at things and I'm like, man, that's horrible that happened that way. Well, now I was looking across at a quote, and it said, rejection is God's protection.
Hmm.
And I said, oh wow. So sometimes some rejections are perfectly in our favor. And
Yeah.
so sometimes when we get fired or we get laid off or we relapse, I mean,
Yep.
all of these things,
It opens up another door.
yeah, you might be, this door may be intended for you to become a motivational speaker and do everything you're doing, and you've been at this job for 14 years
Yeah.
that you're staying at, and finally, your higher power pushed you, nudged you a little bit and said, get going, this is what you really got to be doing, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna get fired.
Well, so, like, look at you, right? I mean, you've been a leader of people for your
Uh-huh.
whole life, right?
Yeah.
But it took these things in your life to push you to then to go get help, and then to all of a sudden become a
Yes.
coach for other people that have applied what you've always been good at, leading people,
Yes.
motivating
Mhm.
people, but, like, you found your true purpose and passion through some of the shit.
Yes, and then you know what? Adding a little bit of my swag to it, because I think, you run you. So I was making the company's goals, right? I
Hmm.
was helping people
Yep.
figure out where they fit in our company's puzzle.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I didn't lose any of that. I learned a whole lot of how to structure things, the technicalities. I learned I had a stepping stone happening, but little did I know that I would be wanting to fulfill my own goals for
Mm,
my own company
yeah.
and helping people figure out where they fit in their puzzle.